Hey everyone, it's everyone from WCC here. We've got Wirab, Derek,
Yo.
Simon,
Hello.
Toby, Kai, and Solom.
Hi.
And we're all here to talk about Gold Paladins, the wonders of Gold Paladin, and why Gold Paladin is the best and why we've been playing it all season.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off, ever since Excel 2 and Premium Collection got released, Gold Paladin has been pretty good, I'd say. It's one of the best decks. But at the beginning, there were some issues with how new Excel 2 Gold Paladin played, and we tried a lot of different things. And one thing that came up, especially in Indonesia, from Indonesia, that popped up in Singapore was the Kaiden Hoel build. What do you guys think of that?
Okay, well, to start off, that was the deck that I won Cebu with. So the big thing that I got from our other WCC member, David Franz Daratan, in relation to that build is, back then we didn't have Providence Angels, so we needed to get the opponent to lethal range for our win con, which is Ultima. So to prioritize Ultima, you need to get your opponent to a certain damage where they cannot heal back far enough so that they can eat one Ultima attack and then pretty much guard the rest. So Hoel and Kaiden allows you to create multi-attacks using Platina Spirex and making 2 circles, XL1, while playing XL2 to just draw and filter your hand, essentially.
And do you agree with that, Wirab? What do you think of the old Kaiden Hoel build?
I think it's like, because back then, right, for the grade 2 slot, a lot of players, especially the build list that we saw from the Japanese player, only plays like 8 grade 2, so 4 Bombers and 4 Wonder, and they're maximizing the numbers of the grade 3s and grade 1 as well. However, at that time, like when you G-assist, for example, or you didn't get your Bowmans, then you're forced to ride your Wonder, which means that your chance of getting into like multiple extra circles kind of like reduced. And then we decided that we want to play an extra grade 2, which is Kaiden. And Hoel is just like an extension as well, because like Kaiden Hoel works very well generally. And as Derek said as well, Hoel just give that, extra pushing power, like plus 10k and plus 5k especially. So the deck can't really be shut down by like a single defensive trigger. So
at the same time, the Platina also got released, and that created the new kind of Platina Spirex kind of combo. How did that really come into the equation?
I think Platina Spirex made it so you would always have Ultimate Stride Fodder and heals, even though you didn't open with them, which was really good. And it also made it so you had like a glorious raining turn that didn't automatically die to a singular defensive trigger.
Yeah. I think the filter is really strong as well. The fact that you would check like double the amount of drag checks you originally would have to get the exact cards that you want, mostly out of those 2x2 checks, is actually really powerful when you have a higher chance of hitting a trigger or higher chance of hitting exactly the pieces that you need for Ultimate Stride Fodder, or just better pieces for later games as well, if you don't think you can get to a point where you're going to kill them straight away.
Or even like heals to heal down to a point where you live through a Morfessa or Gusty.
Yes,
like
heals and PGs, exactly, yes.
Yeah,
Defensive options too.
Okay, so although those are all great cards and great things to have come out for Gold Paladin, probably the worst kept secret that was probably the most significant reason why Gold Paladin was so good though, was something we'd like to call reverse double Spirex. So everyone knows double Spirex. It's you play a bunch of cards, you Spirex, go back down with a Blondezel, and then Spirex again. But if you stride normally into a Spirex and then go back down, and then call out everything and then Spirex again, that is something like the reverse Spirex. So you're doing it in reverse. But the thing is, it only uses 2 CB. So how significant was that? Just why is it just so good? Right, okay. We'll start off with Wirab. We'll start off with Wirab because they came out with that a lot in Singapore, yeah?
Yeah, so basically double Spirex, right? As in like when you ride your grade 3s and then stride, and then using Spirex skill to call 2, which is like already makes you unite that turn, and then you go back using Azul skills or Raven Hair skills, right? It's sort of like make you GB4 on your first ride, so that you can reliably Ultima the turn after without needing to have like a G Guardian in your hand, because you might not have a G Guardian as well at that time. And the second part is that you can spam your Wonder Azel after you go back to your Great Trees. Unlike most of the players, like they usually just like ride the Great Trees, spam their Wonder Azels, and then like CB2 to get into Spear Extract. And it's like, it's about the same play, right? But you're not getting that GB4 from that, you know, like the standard
and
play.
not the +2
and
either.
not the plus
Yeah,
2
the
as
filter
well.
is important
Yeah,
as
the
well.
filter is really important because you just thin your deck out of like 4 cards or possibly more with
Yes.
Branios or Tindren as well.
Possibly CCing.
Yeah,
even.
and CCing everything as
Yeah.
well. So that's why I think double Spear X is pretty significant, and it's just sort of like set up for your Ultima turn.
Yes, I think it's not just pretty significant. I think it's like the singular reason that like some players, like beyond obviously making sure that you have the ultimate stride fodder in your hand, which it also helps with because you can wander into what you have in hand after double spearing.
Yep.
It also just makes it so that you will always Ultima on second stride. There is not a single way you don't, and that is such a massive thing. Like just being able to get like 20 or 30% more wins out of it, like 2 wins on a day because of a double spear, is like a massive win rate increase, which is the difference between topping and not topping. So
And yeah, the threat of like having a GP4 at your first strat, it makes your opponents like thinks twice, like, cause like, you know, you like your opponents knew that you're gonna be like doing Ultima the next turn, whether you have it or not.
Yes.
So it kind of makes like your opponents probably like play really badly or like making like into like bad decisions because of that as well.
you also don't have to guard awkwardly because you have to G guard
Yes.
before they're able
Yes,
to
of course.
pass. Yeah.
So how did this really affect deck building in a way? How would you build your deck now that you know that your idea has this double Spear X, reverse double Spear X available open to you?
Okay, so one of the starting points would be your grade 3 lineup. So obviously the traditional deck, you must play 4 blonde, just because it obviously contributes to this double spear play, as well as superior plays if you go first and you know whatnot. But the big question is whether you max on Raven and max on Platina, or you play 4 and 3 and deciding which one you go with 4 and which one you go with 3, right?
Yeah.
So because we have access to this double spear play, using Wonder Ezel after writing down gives you the option to go into whichever Ezel you have in your hand, so that you set up for Ultima next turn,
Yes.
right? So for example, if you have Blonde in hand and you've already wrote down, you play a Wonder, and you're like, okay, so I have a Blonde in hand, so I can write a Blonde from deck without needing to worry about drive checking into my ultimate stride folder because you already have it there. So following from this, because we prioritize, after Ultima would be a Platina Spear X play, right? So generally, people would want to go into Platina, go full effect, check 6 cards on their drive check, right? So that's where, when we deck build, Platina was at 4, whereas Raven is at 3, because Raven is more of an extender card, rather than being like a crucial card to always stay on the Vanguard. Because obviously Platina is really useful when you have 2 grade 3s in Soul.
Yeah.
You want to prioritize that. So
But
that's
once
why we
you-
played 4 Platina and then 3 as Raven, or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in Raven was also mainly important for the double Spear X extender as well. That was a key component.
Yeah.
Because you could either, depending on the scenario, if you haven't superior road yet, you would have obviously Griffin Soul. So you have the capacity to, once you have the Bowmains and the Gareth on board, to be able to ride down into to Blondezel. Or if your starting Vanguard was the Blondezel, then Raven is there to be able to get you to that double spear play as well by writing down.
Giving you the CV or the
Yes,
CC.
of course. And I think the different comparison as well is obviously some of our lists in our past did run Sagamore. But obviously, yes, I know,
Yes.
shot through the heart.
Garbage.
In the past. And
You.
then, yeah, so contextually,
Never listening to Derek again.
Hey man, I lost New Zealand because of Sagamore.
I literally didn't qualify Worlds because I played Sagramore. Had I played Raven in Italy, I would have.
Yes, so that's the reason, like, those reasons are more obviously why running pure Ezel as your grade 3 lineup is so important, because obviously getting the wrong grade 3 when you don't run an Ezel was like a massive brick when you're trying to get to an Ultima, because for one, your Axel Circle generation diminishes, obviously, because you can't spam them with Wonder Ezels, or obviously do any other superior ride shenanigans with Blonde and getting more circles with Raven by riding on top. So obviously we wanted to go for consistency a lot more than the little extra pluses that Sagramore can bring, but it wasn't worth it in the long run.
Yes, playing Sagramore is throwing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of overall like the second phase or the second idea plan that came into this final build of Gold Paladin. So, lastly, there is a final piece.
Actually, there's two more pieces.
Two more pieces.
I'd say there's first Brenius, and then we get to like.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll go with Brenius.
There's a spice.
Okay,
Yes.
so Brenius and
So essentially, Brenius is not only an upstart goblin in the sense that it's basically a card that says ignore this card and get another card, which makes it so you get to all your good stuff. It also works really well with Double Spear because you have many opportunities to actually utilize it. If you
Okay.
saw a Brenius of your first spear, depending on if you need it, you could always like look for the next thing after spearing again. Or even just riding in, or you can keep it if you think, oh, I'm gonna need this next turn for a certain place. Those certain plays being, let's say your opponent is smart and denies you your Ultima. You could Ultimate Stride Ultima, even if you don't have the CB available for it.
Sure.
And on place, Brenius will trigger. Brenius will go to Soul, you draw, you get to call a Bobo or Maliagant, which then gives you the CC to then pay for it and then do the full Ultima skill, even though your opponent properly denied. And since they couldn't deny the G-Guard either, because you're already at GB4, this makes it so no matter what happens, you will always Ultima and your opponent has no say in it whatsoever. So without Brenius, you couldn't do that play. Beyond that, you could also Brenius into Wonder Ezel during the Ride or Stride phase, Ride phase actually,
Fix
which
your
would
grade
then, fix your grade 3, so you always have the Ultimate Stride folder. Like any combination of any two Ezels plus Wonder would always lead into a perfect Ultimate Stride.
Correct.
Which is why a lot of our teammates in the past, running 3 Brenius was considered okay, but as the testing and builds went further on, yes, Solomon and I are very adamant on running 4 because upping the most value consistency that we could have was overall the best choice that we can have. And like the difference was in our local regionals in Australia, the difference between, we'll say, third place with Simon and first place with me was running the 4 Brenius with upping the consistency value, which really came in handy.
Hey, who was first place this time?
Okay, that's fair. But he did run 4 Brenius in his first start. That's why the idea came through. Yes. It shoot me through the heart.
No, bro, I got you.
all right. And the second spice, the second spice.
Yes.
Who wants to kick off?
Maybe you can talk about that.
Tomorrow?
Providential
The
Angel.
fog?
The Providential Angel, or was it Bobo? Which one?
Oh, I was talking about Besok actually, but
I
also we have 3 more
others are
questions.
last spice.
We'll
Okay.
continue the build that we have at the moment.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's Bobo as well. People started putting Bobos back in the deck.
Oh, my best friend.
So the
Yes.
first to do that
Yes.
was me after we talked about it, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
on Discord before London, we were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So I think before London, you're like, I have one grade 2 slot, but I don't know what to put in it. And I told you to put in Bobo because in a case where your opponent, say you're on like 2 damage and then you have like 1 face up, or like even 1 face up and then your opponent just keeps damage denying you, Bobo just unlocks.
just what Maligan did.
Yeah,
Different.
Ultima. But the thing is that it serves a second purpose. When you stride Spear,
Double
and
spear
you,
into Raven.
Bobo unlocks this 2 CB to ride down and then Spear again.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that
which
was
is-
before Providential Angel was out.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
even
Looking
before,
for a
yes.
slot,
Yeah.
And then like after Angel was out, so we start to like try to find a slot as well for Bobo because it's really important.
Yes.
Like
The Card Blast is so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially like in the high level games where you will kind of expect that people denying each other the damage,
Yeah.
which you've seen a lot in Worlds as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to up Bobo to 2 as well. Because running 1 ran the risk of losing out that play, obviously being damaged to an eye door, not being able to see it in the right time. Because you need to have it in hand effectively for a Brenius play to work. Contrary to when we ran Providence Angel in our new list for the new Grade 2 lineup, our current list was running 2 Bobo and 1 Providence. Reason for running 1 Angel over running 2 was because usually you would just search it out when you Ultima, so you can call it from there straight onto board to be able to use for the Ultima turn. So running 2 Bobo was more necessary during the time to have it in hand.
Yes.
At one stage, I think we even looked at 3 Bobo just because it was
Yeah,
just
but it was
so.
so much.
Yeah, but the thing is that like we didn't have the slots, and 2, we found that playing too many Bobos didn't really do us much.
And an important other thing is like most people don't actually deny either. So it's like it does nothing for you in many games.
Yeah,
and
so Neo Nectar, for example, they just rain your face.
yeah, or even like DI.
DI
It
even.
doesn't really.
Yes.
So now we can move on to final spies. But probably we want to get weird to say this because the origin stories maybe behind this. The final Besok.
Yeah.
Besok.
Alright, so during my WGP Indonesia, so there was a Japanese format. At that time we have the Mysterious Photon set already, which means that we have access to all the new cards like Angel and Besok herself. But at that time I didn't run Besok because that idea hasn't came out to my mind yet. So instead I just like running the standard Brinius with Angel as well. Like Angel at that time I played to replace my OL. So I think I ran 2 at that time. So it makes my Kaden, makes my grade 2 like a 10 as well. During a top 4 game, I first a GB8 Spike Brothers, right? And basically, after that game, I realized that like the what's the card name again? The grade 1 of the GB8 Spike that usually people use.
Wonder
The charge one, and keep restanding.
Yeah.
Oh, Frog Rider.
Frog Rider, yeah,
okay.
the red guy thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically like me and Nico Fernando is like the guy from Indonesia. He's like a Gold Paladin faggot or something like that. So he probably like played Gold Paladin. Only played Gold Paladin. Having discussion about this, and like, hey, this works really well, with GB8 because you could just like keep spamming attacks until like you get decks out, and like, because this guy from 10 ideas, right? 9 is like usually pretty trash, and the other 1 works. And I was thinking like, probably this is like one of the 9 ideas, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and at the start, we were playing like Holsa as well. So my grade 1 slot was something like 2 Holsa and 2 Besok, because Holsa kind of like pumps your board as well. 2k as well, right? So you basically just drop your whole hand and pump your Besok manually, and while being at keep hitting your opponents without having to rely on like blind trigger from GB8 effects. But we find out that like having too much 5k shields in the deck, especially like 2 Holsa, which is kind of like a bit useless throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
It's like pretty detrimental for the deck. And at that time, I didn't run Brinius either, so the deck filter is a bit, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's not awesome either. So I decided to just like take out everything and just play 1 Besok because I have like extra space in my G zone for a GB8. So I thought like, why not? And I think it works pretty well, especially in mirror match, because sometimes in mirror match, right, no matter how good you are and your opponent's right, if say your opponent has sacked into 3 to 4 Wonder Ezels and they have like 6 axles, but you only have 1. That's like waiting for time, right? Time to get executed as well. Like, when they get to damage, then you ultimate you die anyway, right? So that's the only way to win in mirror match like that is with Besok GB8, because they don't really need axle circle. They walk in like normal circle, and you can just like like farm to GB4 and then double G guard, or if you have 3 heals, you can like just triple G guard second strike GB8, and just bash them until they die. Because at that time you probably will have like around 20 to 25 cards in your deck, which you can can attack up to 20 times.
Yes. It's also like Horsa is trying really hard to push the combo from like 90% to 100%,
It's
but the
more
90
like-
is good
Yeah,
enough.
it's a win more card.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not that bad, you know. Like for example, you call Holsa for like Ultima, it still gets pumped like 2k each. You know, it's not that bad, but because we were running Mulligan or running like Hoel, and those like 5k shields as well, and you had Holsa, which is another 5k shields card. So it's pretty bad, you know, for the deck. So I just decided to take it out, play one copy of Besop, because like attack cards, because I still value, you know, playing Dindren and Brenius. And yeah, afterwards, I just select the other WCC members to, you know, to try it. I think at first everybody was like on the fence, like
Yep, I
either
was.
either wanting to run it or not, as you know, and then like I think eventually everybody else running it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was on the
Everyone-
fence. I was like, yeah, I could swap this for a Bobo, and that like ups
Yeah.
my Ultima consistency, I guess. But then
Yeah.
I versed this guy, I think like 5 times within the wake of being here in Japan, and I
Yeah.
got destroyed. And then he did Besok GB8 against me, and then like I died. So I was like, maybe that one extra card isn't too bad.
Yeah,
And then we just tested it, and we were like, yeah, one's not too
Yeah,
bad.
we're happy to sacrificing one slot to up consistency in a bad scenario.
Have
Yeah.
like an out.
Yeah,
uh,
and
in
it's
the-
it's more like it's an alternate win con to the Ultima play. Obviously, that's our priority.
Yes.
But if everything goes, you know, downhill from there, at least you have something else.
It's also like Ezel has the highest deck velocity in the game, so you will see your one-offs. Like
Yeah.
the one Maligan, the one Bobo, the
Yeah.
one... even if
Radius
you're, like,
draws into
like, you
everything.
will-
Wonders
everything.
draws into everything.
all your Excel
Like
circles.
say like you have 3 G cards, right? You can filter like so many cards. For example, you run 2 allies in the deck because you want to like jump from GB2 to GB8, right? So that's like 4 cards filtered from the deck. And then if you're on Aglim, there's another cards, right? And then if you can rewrite, draw another cards, or have your Brenius and Dindren draw extra cards, you can filter out like up to 8 to 10 cards
Yeah,
easily
Platinum Spear too.
in
Like
one
you have
turn. Yeah, so easily. Yeah.
Okay. Is that all about it? I mean, how many of you guys actually use the combo at Worlds?
And
I
the
used it
boys.
once.
Surprise, surprise!
Did you?
Wow, some people like GB8 so much they don't bother with Ultima.
Hey, remember from my London profile where I'm like, yeah, Bobo is like my 5th right target. Like, keeping this shit secret.
All right, is there any shout outs or any other last comments?
Yeah, we have a world champion here. Maybe we
World
should like
champion,
shout that out.
Simon.
Yeah, congrats. See you next year, man.
Yeah, see you next year. You're not playing Weiss.
Don't do this to
The
me.
first member to qualify for Worlds 2020. That's according to Seiji.
Yeah, that's true.
So
It
fun.
started
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's also, I think, during the season, people were like going, "Oh, Ezel is such a brain dead deck," oh, and it's like we were just sitting there like, Jesus
Oh,
Christ!
right.
If you only knew half the things.
Kind of want to add something as well. I mean, at the start, right, during the ban list, I think I saw like everyone running OG Curb in their deck.
Oh,
as well.
Yeah.
disgusting.
2
yeah.
to 3 copies. By the time at World Championship, I think most of us, we don't run any OG Curb anymore. We just
Yeah.
run
It went
like
from like 2 to 1 to
pure,
0.
yeah, pure
Yeah.
consistency
It's a waste
combo
of
deck,
space.
very much.
Yeah,
It's
you
like-
don't need to superior.
You don't need
Just
to.
take
Yeah.
a shield.
Yeah,
That's really
Yeah, dead card, yeah, with no skill half the, like most of the time actually. Like,
Yeah, we don't value the sadness of
But
it.
that's because
Yeah.
everyone saw it as a superior deck still. Like
Yeah.
when I was at London, people were literally going, "Why? Oh, you hate like going first being strong in standard. Why are you playing a going first deck?" I'm like, I don't fucking care about going first. Like, I can win without it. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
There's
I
only a
think-
few matchups where you care.
Yeah, I think in like most of my Swiss rounds of my BCS, like I went second nearly every game.
Yeah, you just stomp them anyway.
Yeah.
The deck
It's
just
like a
doesn't
lot of people thought, well, kind of maybe still think that Gold Paladin you have to high roll to win, but no, it's a consistent deck that can high roll to
Yeah,
win more,
exactly.
right? Like win harder.
Yeah.
That's
So-
right.
Exactly. It's like compared to say playing deck like Tsukuyomi or DI or probably like other like Luard, the Ryan Kai's build, you know,
Yeah.
the boring Luard deck. It's like if you play Ezel, you go first. You get to jump and then you have Wonder. It's pretty much like a free win, like, and it saves your brain to think
For the
you
following
know
rounds.
for the following games. You know, like you
Yeah.
just think of the next round. But like if you go second or like you don't get the jump, then just play normally, right?
Yeah.
It saves so much energy. You know?
Yeah.
It's also like
Unbelievable.
30% of the time you auto win, and then 70% of the time you just win.
You just win. Exactly.
I mean,
Essentially,
people,
yeah.
People think Neo Nectar is consistent, but Gold Paladin is super
It is,
consistent.
yeah.
And then he just wins. It just beats everything. Right?
But I will say only once you get to like this type of build though.
Yeah.
Like when you're still running like the old thing that we like basically had at the start of the season. It's like
Yeah. So I think we started from OG Griffin deck, and then we jumped to Exploders,
yes.
and then we jumped to Hoel-Kaden.
Which was the best build at
Best
that time.
build at the time,
And
with
then
Sagramore. And then we jumped to Hoel-Kaden without Sagramore. Ravenhair. And then we went to Bobo.
Brennius first.
Oh, Brenius,
Yes.
and then Bobo.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we went to World's Build,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. And to add on to the OG Criff thing,
What
so
about Malagate?
I will take that one.
Okay.
honestly. Like Kevin Show's build was the closest to this
Yes.
thing, and then I put in the Maligant.
Yeah,
and
I had one sitting in my box. I'm
Actually,
like, one's pretty good.
The brandest idea came from Steven as well.
Yeah,
Steven,
like
yeah.
last season.
That was-
yeah, last season.
Second
In the
out
original
of
iteration,
everyone with
yeah.
Brenius.
Yeah.
In the original iteration of Gold Paladin that Stephen Lee came up with, he ran for Brenius.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
he
believe
just
in
used it
his
to
build.
sack people.
Because back then with
Sack.
Axel 1, it was like even more
Yeah.
hand.
Yes.
Let's just try and draw into your Wonder Ezels more to high roll even better. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, so credit to Steven, he started everything.
Steven, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, we also put in a Dismal. I remember.
Mr. Solid Bang right here. Yeah,
So I have 2 cards in here. Just want to say.
But yeah, back to that topic, like OG Criff running at 2 or 3, the big thing that I found was that before grade 3, we had no way of drawing into it if we didn't have it in hand. You had to manually draw it.
Yeah,
So
by
that was
turn
like,
2.
I was just like, yep, chucking that in the bin and then continue on without playing it.
You don't even want to keep it in the mulligan.
No.
Like you have to have like a 1, a 0, and your bowmains before you
Yeah.
want to keep it in mulligan, and you
And-
have to go first.
Yeah.
It's like
And knowing my luck, I always go second.
Yeah,
so.
it makes you like just turn off your brain when you have it, because like, oh shit, now I have like the grade 0. Now I need to find a grade 1 and 3. Like,
Yeah.
well, normally you just chuck it back and like get 1 to 3 and play normally, right?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it also incentivizes you to mulligan like an idiot. Like
Yes,
the
yes.
biggest idiot mulligan to me is like
Return-
sending away anything but your
return
bowmains.
5.
And like return 5. Let's get bowmains. It's
Yes,
like
you would have a 3 and a 1 and no bowmains. And
you
you'd be
just
like,
everything back. I'm getting that bowmains.
That's what I did during top 8 in Singapore. I have like 1 to 3 and I returned them to get like,
0, 0, 0, 2.
Select the character. And then I had to choose sister grade 3. And then afterwards, I was like, no, I'm not playing this I'm not playing, the lion, damage adder, not playing this shit. I'm just playing normally.
yes,
I'm
yes.
done, I'm done.
Like, and against like the good players anyway, like Exploder Lion like really doesn't work. So
Just pass.
yeah, like literally like good players will in the mirror will all like even with other decks just swing under you until they get to a point in the game where it's irrelevant that you explode or not. So
Unless Neo, because their 1 out is you not having it and just smashing you in the face.
yes, that is true as well. But at the same time, depending on the damage scenario as well, like if you're only on 1 CB, you still need to be able to countercharge that 1 card. So say you're using it for the Superior Ride, that's a 4-card combo because you need your Bowmains, your Blonde, your Exploder, and then a countercharger for that Exploder.
And your grade
Just-
1 ride. So like that's your
Yes,
hand
that's
right.
that's the whole hand. You need of 5 cards exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just not consistent at all for a chance to win more per se. Like there's win more with extra good cards, but a 4-card combo for that win more is just not. It's just not relevant.
I think before Atlanta Regionals, I spoke to Kevin Cho. We talked a lot about Ezel because obviously he wanted to qualify for Premium. And one of the lines that he brought up was, in Yu-Gi-Oh, a 1-card combo is better than a 2-card combo.
Yes.
So
That's pretty obvious.
Kevin and I were like, yeah, it's true. Like, you need those 2 in hand. You also need another grade 1 and a grade 2 and a grade 3 in worst case scenario to ride up.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the point? Like, you just toss that and just play consistency.
Yeah.
And it's just better.
Now, one thing I will say that's good about the Lion is that you're able to heal to 1 against DI and Luard. And against Luard, that really matters because your damage is always uneven. But, like, that's the one thing it's really not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and to
that's-
heal block.
Yeah, that's the only thing to be useful for is to to be able to equal yourself onto a heal point with a certain deck, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
and to effectively try and swing to get a heal trigger to effectively heal down for 2.
But it's still shit.
Or
Yes,
returning
like
something
that niche
from your
scenario
direction.
isn't worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
Sounds good. All right, let's wrap everything up. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to Simon. Congratulations to the other 2 for coming to Worlds.
What about Derek who got second runner up?
Good job.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Congratulations to Solomon for turning
Not
up.
Top 8 bros.
So, hey, did you qualify?
Oh, unfortunate. I wonder why. Yeah, and then
At least I still got a win, dude.
Yeah.
In BCS what exactly?
WGP.
Yeah, hopefully our great leader Wirab can do well at his WGP in the next month.
Yes.
After sharing all his
Yeah,
knowledge with
'cause,
everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna be a raw format, you know. It's a fish format. Riviera Premium.
Yeah.
All the jumps, you know. Goes back to old rivalry between Bermuda and Gold Paladin. So
Yeah.
we'll see next month. We'll see.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for everything. See you later. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.